We're out here asking people, are you voting for Kamala or Trump? We want to tell us who you have voted for or who you're thinking of voting for.
It's going to be Kamala.
What policies of hers did you like to vote for her?
Generally, her stances on abortion, gender identity, sexuality.
Gender and sexuality. And what policy of hers can you point me to? And what has she said in those policies about gender and sexuality?
I don't generally have specific policies in mind, but I do know that Trump and the Republican Party are more against the idea, not fully against gay people, because there are gay Republicans, but
there's a lot.
Yeah, but there's still generally an anti-trans community in Republicans.
Anti-trans adults?
No.
Okay.
But against the idea of trans people and that they don't exist and that is a mental illness.
Well, what I think they're against is child transitioning.
Yes, but the idea of child transitioning is usually just puberty blockers when they're young, which is reversible and not really much of an issue.
So
and mostly socially transitioning and not actually any kind of surgery until maybe they're an adult.
Got it. So are you okay with waiting until they're an adult to have any kind of surgery like that?
Usually that's the case, is yes.
Do you support allowing children under 18 to not have those kinds of surgeries?
I think in very extreme cases where they, again with their psychiatrist, whoever that's with them and actually know about this and not just politicians that know about this, I think between them then they can decide whether or not. But usually it will be when they're an adult.
So the Republican stance is allow adults to do whatever they want. They're free to do whatever they like. But under 18, you have laws that you should protect children. So your stance is actually the Republican Party stance, and the Democrats are saying allow children as early as 5 years old to start transitioning and taking all these things before they even hit puberty. Are you
saying that children at 5 years old can be transitioned?
There's reports of children as early as 5 years old transitioning.
There could be results. I don't know. There could be cases of that. I don't know. It's not a large thing that I know about.
But I mean, it sounds to me like your position is more on the conservative side. Allow children to be children, and then
if that is what I'm saying, then that might be the case. But even then, most, not most, but a lot of the outwards Republicans believe against these kind of ideas and against trans community outwardly, and I just don't believe in that, and I can't back that.
Well, I mean, you're right in that they're not backing children transitioning, but the stance is if you're an adult, you do whatever you like and live however you like. That's the whole point of a free country.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so that you kind of agree with the conservative side, I guess, on. And what was the other one you said?
Abortion.
What's the issue there that you think Kamala's plan is better than Trump's?
In general, I just think people should have reproductive rights.
And does that mean up until the 9th month, or is there some curbs?
Extreme cases where people might have issues, then yes.
Got it. When it's not about the life of the mother and it's just a natural baby, no issues, the mother's not going to pass away if she has a baby. What's your stance on that? Should we have a limit to where abortion can't be done after that?
Sure, but it wouldn't be it would be a lot more than just 6 weeks or 13 weeks that people give, because that's not enough time for some people to even know that they're even pregnant.
Got it. So right now, it's obviously it went to the states. Each state decides on how they'd like to do it, and they put it up for a vote for the people of that state. Would you agree that that's probably the best way to do it, since each individual state can decide what they'd like to do?
I'm going to say no, just because even though it's an issue that people don't go into their local communities and vote as much, I think that is a big thing.
Okay, so you kind of agree that we should have some curbs on the amount of time that a baby can be aborted. What's your plan on that compared to the way it is now?
In general, I'm pretty sure she wants to reinstate Roe v. Wade and having that overall protection.
Got it. So you're okay with the president overriding what the Supreme Court said?
I think the Supreme Court is a little corrupted, and I think
corrupted. How so?
I guess if you want to bring up the Federal Society and how that's how they're pushing in their own how that's functioning, but in general, we knew that Roe v. Wade was going to be overturned, even if people say they weren't going to, and even if Trump said that it wasn't going to happen, and then afterwards being yeah, I did that, and he's taking the stance for that.
First of all, there's no
Got it. But are you okay with the president deciding arbitrarily that they didn't like the Supreme Court's decision, so then they can institute an executive order to make abortion nationwide legal?
Well, you need the checks and balances, and sometimes you don't always get that in the Supreme Court. And even Supreme Court justices are crying after going into things, because this isn't how it's like happening.
Actually, no.
Got it. But are you okay with the president issuing an executive order overriding what the Supreme Court says?
In some cases.
Okay. And do you afford that same right when there's a conservative president or a Republican president to just get rid of the checks and balances in the way our federalist structure was set up?
I think it needs to be.
Okay, completely. But let me ask
I'm
you a
not
question.
sure about
You think
completely how
Kamala
it should be
Harris
done,
and
but I
Joe
think
Biden
we
have
need
done
to
a good
change our
job
system
of
just a little
managing
bit.
hurricane
Okay. And
relief
what would that look
before
like, the
and
changing of the
during
system, do you think?
I don't have a complete plan in mind. I'm not into that, but I just. Yeah.
Got it. So Kamala's plan is for abortion to make it legal is, I mean, really the only way she would be able to do it is to get 2/3 of Congress to pass a constitutional amendment, and then even then you'd have an issue with the Supreme Court because they already passed a law, or issue an executive order and say, screw the Supreme Court, we're going to do it anyway. Those are really the only two ways.
I said that's
Or
not
we,
what happened.
I don't know if this is right. I'll have to look more into stuff. But changing our voting system and changing who represents who in Congress and getting away with actually our two-party system.
Got it. Okay, but that's a little separate, and I agree we should have more parties. But as far as abortion, I mean, unless you're going to go overrule the Supreme Court in executive order, there's not much you can do, right? And it's to the states.
$1 billion has been used.
I don't know exactly how it's going to happen, but I think even believing in her and hopefully something will happen. I don't know if it'll be something like overruling the Supreme Court, which I'm not sure about. But
Okay, but you're just trusting that she's.
but even if it does get past the Supreme Court again and it gets on her desk and that she accepts it, then I will be trusting her.
Got it. But the Supreme Court already made a decision. Okay, so that you feel like she might do something. You don't know what she's going to do, but at least she said she's going to try to get a national abortion legal again.
I want to believe that she can.
Okay, but abortion with limits.
Possibly.
Okay, possibly like you're not really sure yet if you want limits on abortion or.
Okay, what is her greatest accomplishment?
It'll be like kind of case-to-case scenario, but like definitely more than like what we usually get with like what even like people are saying like 13 weeks. I don't think that's enough for people.
Got it. So are you okay with the state saying it's 23 weeks or it's 26 weeks and the state's making that decision for themselves? Or would you say states don't have that right? We need to have the president make the decision for the whole country.
Is Mike Pence your idol?
No.
Not sure exactly
I understand that.
what I would
You
say,
can break the
but
glass ceiling like she did.
I think
So, let me just ask you, what has she done for you?
not sure about the logistics of things.
Got it. All right. Well, I appreciate your time and thank you for the honest conversation.